Hello and welcome to Mindful Living, where we explore the art of living with the intention, balance, and inner peace. I am Avik, your host, guiding you through conversations on health, meditation, mental well being, mindfulness, and the mind body connection. Each episode features expert insights to help you grow, heal, and thrive. So, take a deep breath, relax, and join us on this journey to a more mindful and fulfilling life. So, let's get started.
Hello and welcome back, listeners, to the Mindful Living podcast with your host, Sana. Today, we have a truly inspiring and mind expanding episode lined up. Have you ever wondered if there's a way to rewire your brain to work for you, not against you? Or considered how the science of brain coaching could help you tackle procrastination, self doubt, and even long standing self limiting fears? Well, get ready because today's guest, Dominika Staniewicz, is here to walk us through all this and more. Now, Dominica is not just any coach. She is a certified brain coach by Dr. Amen and an elite neuroencoding specialist. Her journey from deep personal struggles to becoming a beacon of resilience is nothing short of remarkable and is an inspiring story for all of us. And she is here on the Mindful Living to share insights, tools, and strategies to help you tap into the power of your brain and overcome what's holding you back. So let's jump right in. So, Dominica, welcome to the show, and it's an absolute honor to have you today with us.
Sana, it's absolute pleasure, honor, and I'm ecstatic that your introduction was so beautiful. Thank you so much for taking the time and just combining that all together. I feel already so special.
Lovely, lovely. Dominica, what exactly is brain coaching, and what motivated you? What attracted you to this entire, concept of brain coaching?
I'll try to be brief because I can talk about this forever.
I
So,
know.
brain coaching, it is a merge between psychology, psychiatry, biology, infused with neuroscience and understanding of the connection of the brain and the body, as
Mhm.
well as everything that happens in different parts of your brain. And it is understanding that psychology is the result of functioning of your brain as an organ. So, if that is the case, that means your limiting beliefs are not yours. It is how your brain functions and how it got wired. And we have now enough knowledge in neuroscience that we can now adapt this to practical skills and tools that we can help people become who they really want to be and prevent them from struggling with things like anxiety, depression, overwhelm, fear, stress, frustration,
Mhm.
ADHD, and other things that do show up in this world, and give
Mhm.
them the tools to rewire their brain without medication. It encompasses looking at your blood work, it encompasses natural methods, it encompasses things like circadian rhythms or dopamine protocols release, or how serotonin works, or how oxytocin works, or how prolactin, what does it play? And although those are technical terms, we make it easy and we teach you and give you the tools how to control your brain. So it's you who decides how you're going to feel. It's not an automatic response anymore. It's now programmed by you. It's
Mhm.
programming the software of your mind. And it's not anymore something untouchable. It's literally physical, something that is you can understand and control in a lot of ways. And what got me to it is that I have been through a lot of coaching in my life. I've been coached. I went
Mhm.
through therapies. I went to psychologists to help me kind of function better in life after the tragic events that I had. And some people might call them even traumatizing. I would not say so. My brain structures have not been changed because of those events, although they could have, but they were very tragic. And it allowed me to finally understand, because when I was talking to coaches and psychologists, they're like, well, that's the way it is. I'm like, but why? Why is it like this? Can I do something about it? And the truth is, until you can name it and you can see it and you can actually see the process, how it works, you don't have the ability to prevent it. And brain coaching comes from what Dr. Amen, Daniel Amen created, is a brain health trainers like me. And what it is he has discovered through brain scans called SPEC scans, what they do, they measure the blood flow, oxygenation, and activity in your brain. And they show literally in real time which parts of your brain are active. That's how we discovered that although all depression presents more or less the same, it can be located in 7 different areas of your brain. That is why a lot of things don't work. The same medication doesn't work for the same person. That's how we discovered that there are 7 types of ADHD, and the brain lights up differently and different parts of the brain are affected. So now we understand why a lot of people say, well, this is not working me. It's not, because it's in a different part of your brain. And although I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a therapist, I'm a coach. So what I get to do, I get to take all that knowledge and support you up to the point where you might need medication. And from my experience, I have found, and from other brain coaches as well, neuroencoding specialists, is that about 80% of things we've experienced can be helped with coaching, lifestyle changes, and rewiring of your brain and your blood work and making sure that you're in good health overall, because your brain is the biggest organ. It uses 20% of your calories, that little tiny thing, just to function. And it is so important that we take care of it. Yet we haven't spoken about it. Mental health is not mental health, it's brain health.
That's really very well explained with so much clarity, Dominika. And how does it differ from traditional life coaching?
Oh, so we do use psychology like life coaches. We do use different types of questions like life coaches. But what we also do, we analyze your brain and we look at what brain type are you. There are 13 brain types, and those brain types are predisposed to certain behaviors and thought processes. We have now enough science in brain scans to know that male brain is constructed differently than female brain. We also look at your blood work, because if you're not producing enough of neurotransmitters, your brain cannot rewire. We look at trauma to the brain. Have you ever fallen off a bike, or maybe off a ladder? Or maybe you were playing sports with your head, like soccer, or played football. And that has created trauma to your brain, which will in time change your personality. We look at food that you eat. We look at time you spend outside. And what we do is not only work on how you're feeling, but we take everything together and we create strategies just for you based on your brain type and where you want to go. And we work specifically with those issues. So it's not only talking and having conversations, but let's say there's our brains get programmed without us knowing, everybody, including me. And by the age of 7, you have a set of beliefs, fears, and there's also epigenetics, which I'm not a specialized person in, but epigenetics have proven that trauma can be transferred by generations. So it's important to understand that. There's a great story, for example, by Dr. Amen, where he was doing coaching with one of his clients. And the client, yes, was recommended supplements that were 100% natural, and they have therapeutic value. But one of the things is, I'm sure you know a person who's always saying no. Can we do this? No, I don't want to do this. No, 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 no. The naysayers, right? And it's not that there's something wrong with them. It is how their brain is wired. And there was a marriage that he was counseling. They were married for 20 years. And the husband came and he was like, I can't get my wife to be intimate with me. And it's always no. And she's always oppositional. Well, one of the things that Dr. Amen suggested, and I highly advise you try this, was to go for a walk, but before the walk, have carbs, eat carbs, then go for a walk, and then have a conversation that would require your spouse partner to say yes. Needless to say, that technique, a simple technique,
Uh-huh.
changed the course of the marriage. See, the brain needed certain nutrients
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
to shift the gears and to see different things and to get distracted. When I do coaching with my clients, a lot of them, when I drive to them, fly to them, we do
Uh-huh.
walking. Why? Because then you're not so concentrated on what you're doing. We walk while we coach. We look at your lifestyle and we go, okay, well, what would benefit you? What was your natural response when you were a kid, when the brain wasn't programmed yet, when you were not on autopilot, right? We harness all of that. And coaching in this case, it really we use things like EMDR, which
Mhm.
is rapid eye movement technique, where we disassociate memories with the feelings. Because you can't change the past. You can't change that somebody you love died. You can't change rape. You can't change the pain. But what you can do, you can keep the memory without the emotions attached. Imagine you could say, yes, that was a very bad experience. I got, I don't know, run over by a car, but there's
Mhm.
no feelings coming up. It's just a memory, like a picture. How much better your life would be if all those stones of memories of pain and trauma could be just pictures that you flip through, but they don't bring out the emotions. They don't bring out the pain. They don't bring out the heart palpitation, the lack of breathing, the knot in your stomach. That's what we do. That's the difference between brain coaching and a regular life coach.
Hmm. And as you say that, mental health is basically brain health. So
Mhm.
something which is biologically programmed right from our childhood, how can we really change or rewire our brains? And or are we just destined to follow that same pattern because of the biological construction or blueprint of the brain?
That's a great question. And the beautiful thing about the brain is that your brain can change and your brain can regenerate. Now, what we're talking about, what we as humans experience, are emotions.
Yeah.
Emotions are nothing else but chemical releases that have been attached to a stimuli. So
Mhm.
let's say you see, I don't know, something that you're afraid of. Your brain has a memory of fear and that
Yeah.
thing. And it goes, if you're afraid, this is the chemicals we're going to release. And that's where your heart starts palpitating.
Mm.
What we do, we first teach you, first of all, we need to see, what do you want to change in your life? You're not destined to be anything. Your brain can change, your brain can rewire. That's why we have something called neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity is with us till the day we die. The excuse, I'm too old to change, is 100% BS. 100%. You got to scratch that from your vocabulary. You can change at any time. So what do? Remember when I said at the beginning, you need to understand what's happening. So you need to catch that
Mm.
reaction. First of
Mm.
all, you need to be aware of the reaction. So imagine you're driving,
Mhm.
right? And you see a big red light. If you press on the brakes because you saw a red light, it's an automatic reaction.
Right.
But what if that red light was, for example, a comet? It wasn't the red light. That was an automatic reaction. So being aware of what happens to you is first thing. Now, when you're aware, we kind of teach you how to train your brain to react differently before it happens. You know, an actor that goes and they perform, but they
Mhm.
practice for months before they go on stage. So it
Right.
becomes automatic when they're on stage. That's what we start doing with you. We practice reactions for a stimuli. So it's a different one. So your brain creates a new neural pathway. Now, neural pathway is what is created in your brain. It's like a little line at the beginning. Your
Mhm.
brain connects information with chemicals and feelings and a reaction. And it creates this little tiny thing like a hair. And the more you repeat it, it becomes like a ribbon. Then it becomes like a one-way street, then like a two-way street, then like a highway, then like a freeway. And it becomes an automatic behavior. Now, when you stop practicing it, it shrinks. It won't go away after age of 28 ever. But what you can do, you can build on top a chosen string that you will practice and it will become an automatic behavior. And it will be your choice of behavior. So for example, when long time ago, I was very hurt. A man that I was with cheated on me, left me, and was very cruel to me. Now, my brain and your brain is designed, and remember, world is moving forward. Our brain is still the same after thousands and thousands of years. It's their analog, and it still functions the same as it did 2,000 years ago. And it was supposed to protect us. So my brain went, men are bad. You should be afraid of men. Well, the truth is that it generalized it based on one person.
Yeah.
So then my behavior was protective behavior when I would go out to the world. And I would look for things why men are lying, or why is he dishonest, or why could he hurt me? So obviously I wasn't open and loving. I was distant and watching and observing. My behavior was picked up by other men, and they were then also distant, right? So my brain go, oh, see, they're not loving, they're not caring, see? But see, I didn't understand that was my behavior that created that reaction. Now, the moment I got aware, I went, okay, so how can I change that? So for a while, I was practicing curiosity. What I would do, I would meet people and go, I'm curious what they can teach me. And I would repeat that in my head every time I met somebody to allow myself to experience them without the presupposition that they are somebody, because one person does not define the whole bunch of people. Now, that's just the beginning. But because of that, I started to prove my brain wrong. My brain got more proof that saying, well, not all men are bad. Not all men are going to hurt you, right? And then I went, okay, well, that's not true. So if that's not true, what is true? Some men are bad. That is true. And that belief created different behavior on everyday basis. And I had to practice that. Now, with that being said, because there was no tension in my body that I was creating with the fear, different chemicals started being released when I saw a man. And then my reaction, physical reaction, was different. And notice how everything is beautifully connected.
Right, right. I'm starting to get a very clear picture about how beautiful it's all connected. And we talk about rewiring our brains to overcome procrastination and self-sabotage. But I
Yeah,
think, as you mentioned about, when our brain is trying to procrastinate, but the reactions or the action we take, if it can be changed with practice, then it's definitely possible to rewire our brains.
absolutely. And you know what? When you talk about procrastination, we're so afraid of procrastination, but procrastination is mandatory and it's beautiful for
Mhm.
creativity. You can't be creative without procrastination. And not all procrastination should be let go. See, one of the reasons people procrastinate is to get the high of dopamine that
Yeah.
I've made it and I achieved it.
Yes.
And that high can be beneficial or not. See, we keep saying procrastination is bad. That's not true. The procrastination that prevents you from achieving your goals and creates stress, that's the one we need to work on. But procrastination in creative process is absolutely mandatory. You can't be creative without being bored and stalling because your brain accesses deeper memories the longer you wait. The first idea is the first thing you think of. When I work with people, we don't really care what you say first 10 minutes. It really doesn't matter because this is what you've been programmed and you've been saying over and over. So it's on top of your mind. The creativity comes from digging deeper. And procrastination is absolutely necessary to be creative. Now, if that procrastination takes away your success, gives you stress and creates anxiety, Absolutely. We need to work on that and then create protocols. There are protocols to change the release of dopamine so it's released earlier. So you don't have to wait to the last minute. So something else will give you the kick and put you into action. And there are specific exercises we work with you on. See, dopamine is a great chemical, but if it's overused by your brain, it kills something that we look for, which is non-conditional happiness. Every time you overuse dopamine, you kill a chemical or receptors for a chemical that it's called serotonin. And serotonin is the bliss of being. I'm happy because I am with you and I'm just sitting next to you and we're not doing anything. And that joy is absolutely necessary for happiness. Dopamine addiction, which a lot of people have, is killing those receptors. So you cannot sit still and enjoy just somebody's presence. But the problem with that is that if you are addicted to dopamine, you're not doing things, you're not being ambitious to achieve. You're doing this subconsciously, not to experience prolactin. And that is the chemical that's associated with postpartum depression. If you keep releasing dopamine, the highs are so high, but the lows are almost suicidal or can be suicidal. So people not to experience that pain of prolactin, which is tied, literally tied to dopamine release, will keep going. And we need to reprogram the brain so the brain stops releasing. The chase is slowed down because at one point you will run out of things to do. And the feeling of not belonging, not being part of the world, the feeling that's created by prolactin, of there's no point of me being in this world, what am I doing here, I'm useless, will overwhelm you and very often is extremely tragic for humans.
Yes, it is. Great, great. And before we wrap up this profound, very informative conversation, what are some of the most powerful daily practices you suggest for listeners or for all of us to strengthen our brains?
Okay, well, let's go. First of all, when you wake up, I want you to drink a glass of water before you get out of bed. I guarantee you that if you start practicing this, you will not push the snooze button. 100%. Next, I want you, if you can, to go outside for 10 minutes when you wake up in the morning before you have your coffee. Now, Dr. Amen is very much against coffee. I have one coffee a day, so don't tell Dr. Amen. So you go outside for 10 minutes if the sun is out, if it's overcast, 15 minutes, and just be outside. Allow natural, good cortisol to start flowing in your brain. Next, I would love for you guys, if you're an A-type personality, do not celebrate every win. If you have low self-esteem, if you are a person that is struggling with procrastination, anxiety, I want you to start celebrating the littlest, tiniest things. And it's so important that you celebrate with your whole body because endorphins, oxytocin, and other happy hormones are not released if you just go, oh, yeah, I did good. That doesn't work. I need you to jump around and I need you to clap and laugh or sing or dance, whatever is natural to you. You will feel like a total weirdo, and that's okay. Your body is connected to your brain. You can control your brain, your body. Another tip, if you are a person who drinks, try to stop drinking. Alcohol kills your brain cells, and there is no doubt about it. Same with any type of marijuana and stimulants. They're not good for your brain. What is beautiful for your brain, though, is exercise. All over the world, the more advanced medicine and people who practice brain health, when you're in a depressive state, not depressed, but in a depressive state, get out and go for a walk somewhere in a green area if you can. 20 minutes. And that has such a the green in the trees allows your brain to refresh. And I don't remember the chemical that is released in a forest, but it's literally in a lot of countries now being prescribed as medication, walking and doing breathing exercises. You can also do meditation, which is very well known in your country, which is great. And meditation is phenomenal for the brain. So there are plenty of practices you can do for brain health. But the truth is, you go further faster if you get help. So hire yourself a life coach, a brain coach, a neuroencoding specialist, or whoever else, because if you have somebody cheering you on and on your side and keeping you accountable, and you really want to change, nothing is impossible. You can have the life you want with the brain you want. And remember, the brain decides who you marry, how you work, what do you do, how successful you are. It's all in the brain. So take care of it because it's your biggest asset. That's what creates your personality. That's what creates your happiness. And you can be now in control of it.
Lovely. Lovely, Dominika. What a great answer. And if our listeners they want to explore more about the science, strategies, the studies you have done, and also secrets to unlocking brain's full potential, how they can do that?
So you can go to my website, yourbraincoachd.com, or you can find me on Instagram, yourbraincoachd.com, or you can go to Facebook and find yourbraincoachd.com. And those services are available for individuals and companies. Or if you're looking to learn about the science of happiness and procrastinations and overwhelm, get a book that's called The Magic of Dreaming Big, Acting Small and Achieving Success. And it's available on Amazon for a price of coffee.
Lovely. We'll have all of these details mentioned in the show notes for our listeners. And Dominika, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom on brain coaching in such a pragmatic and clear way for our listeners. And, it's really empowering to know how transforming this is and how important brain is for all of us. So thank you.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
And listeners, if you are curious to learn more about Dominika's work or dive deeper into the science behind brain coaching or take the next steps in your own personal journey, check out all the resources we have shared in the show notes. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, share this episode with friends and your family, your loved ones, and leave us a review. It helps us, definitely helps us continue bringing you conversations like this one. And until next time, remember to stay mindful, stay curious, and take care. Thank you.